There is a powerful paradox in human nature that many people discover only after years of frustration. The harder you try to gain someone's attention, the more your attention becomes consumed by them. The more desperately you seek recognition, the more uncertain you become about your own worth. Yet the moment you stop making another person's approval the center of your life and begin investing that same energy into your own growth, everything begins to change. Many people believe that becoming more available will make them more appreciated, yet human psychology often works in the opposite direction. When your time, attention, and energy are given away without limits, they gradually become expected rather than valued. This does not happen because people are necessarily ungrateful. It happens because human beings naturally adapt to what is constantly present. The more accessible something becomes, the less consciously people notice its value. Becoming valuable instead of becoming available means shifting your focus away from constantly seeking acceptance and toward developing qualities that genuinely improve your life. Instead of asking how quickly you can respond to every message, attend every invitation, or satisfy every expectation, ask how you can strengthen your character, expand your knowledge, improve your skills, and live according to your principles. True value is created through consistent personal growth, not through endless availability. A person who respects their own time understands that every hour has purpose. They are willing to help others, but they do not sacrifice their priorities simply to avoid disappointing people. This balance communicates self-respect because it shows that your decisions are guided by intention rather than by the fear of rejection. Human nature tends to respect individuals who have clear priorities because purpose creates a quiet sense of confidence. Someone who is deeply committed to meaningful work, healthy relationships, and personal development does not need to withdraw from others to appear important. Their life naturally has structure, and their availability reflects that structure. This also changes the quality of relationships. Instead of attracting people who expect unlimited access to your time and attention, you begin building connections with those who appreciate your presence and respect your boundaries. Your interactions become more genuine because they are based on mutual choice instead of emotional dependence. Becoming valuable also requires patience. Skills are developed over time, wisdom grows through experience, and character is strengthened through consistent action. These qualities cannot be rushed, but once they are established, they create confidence that does not depend on external approval. People are naturally drawn to individuals who contribute something meaningful, whether through knowledge, reliability, creativity, or integrity. By investing your energy in becoming someone of substance rather than someone who is endlessly available, you create a life where your presence is respected, not because you constantly seek attention, but because the value you bring is evident through your actions, your discipline, and the way you choose to live each day. Before you can positively influence anyone else, you must first learn to govern your own emotions. Human beings often believe influence comes from persuasive words, clever strategies, or a powerful personality, but lasting influence begins with self-mastery. When your emotions control your reactions, other people can easily predict your behavior and in some cases even manipulate it. If every criticism immediately angers you, every rejection destroys your confidence, or every compliment determines your mood, then your emotional state is being directed by circumstances rather than by your own judgment. Real strength is demonstrated when you remain calm in situations that would normally provoke impulsive reactions. This does not mean suppressing your feelings or pretending they do not exist. It means recognizing them without allowing them to dictate your decisions. Emotional discipline creates the space between feeling and action, allowing you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. This ability improves every area of life. In conversations, you listen more carefully. because you are not consumed by defending your ego. During conflict, you focus on solving the problem rather than proving yourself right. In moments of disappointment, you adapt instead of collapsing under frustration. Human psychology naturally respects emotional stability because calmness communicates confidence and maturity. People are more likely to trust someone who remains composed under pressure than someone whose emotions constantly shift with changing circumstances. Mastering your emotions also protects you from manipulation. Individuals who understand your emotional triggers can influence your choices if you react without awareness. However, when you pause, observe your feelings, and make deliberate decisions, you reclaim control over your own behavior. This inner stability creates genuine confidence because your peace no longer depends on external events. Praise becomes something to appreciate rather than depend upon, while criticism becomes an opportunity to learn rather than a threat to your identity. As this habit develops, your presence naturally changes. Others notice that you are not easily shaken by setbacks, arguments, or uncertainty. Your confidence is expressed through consistency instead of emotional intensity. By mastering your own thoughts and reactions before attempting to influence anyone else, you develop a quiet strength that inspires respect. True influence is never created through controlling other people. It is created by first demonstrating complete responsibility for yourself, allowing your discipline, patience, and emotional balance to become the strongest example of leadership you can offer. In a world where everyone is competing to be noticed, constant self-promotion has become common. People often believe they must continually explain their value, announce their achievements, or seek attention to remain relevant. Yet human psychology is naturally more influenced by observation than by persuasion. Words can create interest for a moment, but consistent actions build lasting respect. When you constantly tell people how capable, confident, or successful you are, they have little reason to discover those qualities for themselves. Genuine curiosity is created when your behavior quietly reflects qualities that others notice over time. A person who is disciplined, dependable, thoughtful, and emotionally balanced does not need to convince others of these traits because they become visible through daily interactions. Human nature is drawn toward authenticity. People become curious about individuals whose actions consistently match their values, whose confidence remains calm rather than loud, and whose achievements speak more clearly than their promises. This does not mean becoming silent or hiding your accomplishments. It means allowing your work, your character, and your consistency to communicate your value more effectively than constant explanation ever could. Curiosity grows naturally when there is substance behind your presence. Instead of trying to impress everyone with words, invest your energy in becoming someone whose actions create questions that people want to answer for themselves. Let your reliability make people wonder how you remain so consistent. Let your emotional control make them notice your composure under pressure. Let your dedication to meaningful goals reveal your priorities without needing constant discussion. This approach also protects your confidence because it shifts your attention away from managing other people's opinions and toward improving yourself. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth in every conversation because your confidence comes from what you consistently do rather than from what others temporarily believe. Relationships become more genuine as well. People connect with you because they experience your character directly instead of responding to carefully crafted impressions. Over time, this quiet authenticity becomes far more persuasive than endless self-promotion. Your presence carries greater influence because it is supported by evidence rather than claims. By allowing your actions to create curiosity, instead of using words to seek attention, you develop a reputation built on integrity, discipline, and genuine substance. In the end, people remember those whose lives consistently reflected their values far more than those who spent their time trying to convince the world of who they were. A life built around meaningful purpose naturally commands greater respect than a life built around seeking constant attention. Many people spend years trying to become more interesting to others while neglecting the work required to become more fulfilled themselves. They believe admiration comes from saying the right things, gaining popularity, or being noticed by as many people as possible. Yet human psychology responds far more deeply to individuals who possess genuine direction. Purpose creates a quiet confidence because it gives every day a reason beyond temporary approval. When you wake each morning committed to improving your skills, strengthening your character, pursuing meaningful goals, and contributing something of value, your identity gradually becomes rooted in progress instead of public opinion. This shift changes the way you carry yourself. You become less distracted by every compliment or criticism because your attention is invested in something larger than momentary recognition. Human nature naturally respects those who are dedicated to worthwhile pursuits. A person who consistently honors their commitments, develops their abilities, and remains focused despite obstacles communicates stability without needing to announce it. Their actions reveal discipline, and discipline is difficult to ignore. Building a meaningful life also transforms your relationships. Instead of relying on other people to create purpose for you, you enter relationships from a position of completeness rather than emotional dependence. You appreciate companionship, but your happiness no longer depends entirely on another person's attention. This emotional independence creates healthier connections because they are based on mutual respect rather than the fear of being alone. Purpose also protects you from unnecessary distractions. Every invitation, trend, or opinion no longer has the power to pull you away from what truly matters because your priorities are already clear. You become more intentional with your time, your energy, and your decisions, recognizing that these resources should be invested where they create lasting value. As your purpose grows stronger, your confidence becomes quieter and more authentic. People notice your consistency, your calmness, and your commitment because these qualities are demonstrated through everyday behavior rather than dramatic displays. Respect follows naturally, not because you demanded attention, but because your life reflects discipline, integrity, and meaningful direction. By building a life centered on purpose instead of approval, you develop a presence that quietly attracts admiration, inspires trust, and encourages others to recognize the strength that comes from living according to clear values and enduring goals. Confidence is often mistaken for something that appears suddenly after receiving praise, achieving success, or gaining the admiration of others. In reality, a lasting confidence is built through self-discipline rather than external validation. External approval is temporary because it depends on other people's opinions, emotions, and changing circumstances. One day you may be praised and the next day criticized by the very same people. If your confidence is built upon their reactions, your emotional stability will constantly rise and fall according to forces beyond your control. Human nature naturally enjoys recognition, but there is a significant difference between appreciating encouragement and depending on it. Self-discipline creates a stronger foundation because it is based on actions you can control every single day. Every promise you keep to yourself, every difficult task you complete, every healthy habit you maintain, and every moment you choose consistency over comfort becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. That trust gradually develops into genuine confidence. You no longer believe in your abilities simply because someone tells you that you are capable. You believe because you have repeatedly proven it through your own actions. This form of confidence remains steady even when recognition is absent because it is supported by experience rather than opinion. Discipline also teaches patience, an essential quality for emotional strength. Instead of seeking immediate results or constant reassurance, you learn to value steady progress. Small improvements repeated over time become more meaningful than occasional moments of praise. Human psychology naturally respects people whose confidence comes from quiet consistency instead of constant self-promotion. Such individuals do not feel the need to convince everyone of their value because they have already established it within themselves. They remain calm during criticism because one opinion cannot erase years of disciplined effort. They remain humble during success because they understand that growth never truly ends. This mindset also strengthens relationships as you stop depending on others to confirm your worth and begin connecting with people from a place of emotional security rather than need. By choosing discipline over the endless pursuit of validation, you build confidence that cannot easily be shaken by rejection, comparison, or changing opinions. Your self-belief becomes rooted in your character, your habits, and your willingness to continue improving even when nobody is watching, creating an inner strength that remains reliable through both success and adversity. The strongest and most lasting attraction is never created by pretending to be someone you are not. It grows naturally from authenticity supported by healthy boundaries. Many people believe they must constantly impress others, hide their flaws, or change their personality to gain acceptance. They become so focused on meeting other people's expectations that they slowly lose sight of their own values. Human nature can easily fall into this trap because the desire to belong is deeply rooted within us. Yet relationships built on performance are difficult to sustain because they require you to maintain an image rather than simply be yourself. Authenticity begins when your words, actions, and values are aligned. You no longer say what others want to hear merely to gain approval, nor do you pretend to share interests or beliefs that do not genuinely reflect who you are. Instead, you express yourself with honesty while remaining respectful of others. This creates trust because people sense consistency between what you say and what you do. Healthy boundaries strengthen this authenticity by protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. A boundary is not a wall designed to keep people out. It is a clear understanding of what you will and will not accept in your life. It allows you to be generous without becoming exhausted, kind without being taken advantage of, and compassionate without sacrificing your self-respect. Human psychology naturally respects individuals who communicate their boundaries calmly and consistently because it reflects emotional maturity and self-awareness. People who know their limits are less likely to be manipulated by guilt, pressure, or the fear of disappointing others. They make decisions based on principles rather than on the constant need for approval. This combination of authenticity and boundaries also creates healthier relationships. Instead of attracting people who value you only when you meet their expectations, you attract those who appreciate your genuine character. The connections become deeper because they are based on honesty rather than performance. Over time, this way of living creates quiet confidence. You no longer spend your energy trying to earn acceptance from everyone because you understand that not every relationship is meant to last. Those who respect your values will remain, while those who cannot accept your authenticity will naturally drift away. By living truthfully and protecting your boundaries with consistency and respect, you create a presence that inspires trust, encourages meaningful connections, and attracts people who value you for who you truly are rather than for the version of yourself you felt pressured to become.